What's up, guys? Yes, I will review shop chart. Sing is king, right? A shop is something that I will talk about. Um, it could be a good thing, I think, for long-term holders, but I'll explain my views on it, right? But first, SPX, man, what I run yesterday from 4150, right? I wasn't there to trade this, but I did, mention that it's worth long to short around these levels. A nice little rip, 150-point rip. Even if you caught a little bit of this move, calls tripled, quadrupled, they went 1000% and much more, right? So that's FOMC, guys. That's what happens when there's volatility on FOMC, right? We held 4150 and our top target was 4300. As soon as we held above 4200, a clear path was all the way towards 4300, basically, with this little resistance in between, right? Which just stalled. They absorbed buyers and then sellers, and then we continued higher. All right, and now if we look at the daily, let me just hide these levels. Let's just review this chart. SPX, so far everyone is now bullish once again. I'm not saying it's wrong to be bullish, I'm not saying it's wrong to be bearish. It's okay to have a bias to one side, but just understand the overall picture. So it helps you to tell, it basically tells you for how long to stay in the position for, basically, right? Now if we look at this chart, we do have a very strong critical support, this level right here, right? This level right here, and then we basically broke below this. We broke below this, which signaled that there was more weakness. And now what you want to do here is compare the overall market with the way the oil prices are, our common sense, basically, with what's happening with the consumers. All right, that's very important. All right, they broke it below, they brought it right back up. FOMC, they announced 50 basis, right? So 50, and then they're expecting 50 in June, and then in July they're also expecting 50, which was previously, I believe, 25, and 75 they're not considering. There's one statement alone that we're not considering 75 at one of the meetings was bullish. I think that's one of the main reasons market went up for that short period of time, right? And earlier they were expecting by 2023 quarter 3 that they will reach their target of 3 and a 3.25, but now they're targeting it for quarter 2. All right, even earlier. Now this move that happened, it wasn't much bias. Basically what happened here was the options or hedges that came out, whatever it was, that fueled that rally. You guys have to understand why this candle was made. People, now we studied what the candlestick means, that this is a reversal candle, the stock should go up next day. This is a very bullish candle, the stock should go up even higher the next day. That's what the candles are done, right? But it's not necessarily true all the time if you understand why the candle was made. All right, so now our top target basically here on SPX is 42.85. We have our first level. If we hold above 4,300, that's the title for today, SPX 4,300. Based on the options data, this is not my level. Like any level I use here, it's all backed by options interest. Okay, so it's backed up by data. They're not my levels. They change often every day or every few days. Okay, but right now, if we hold above 4,300, there's room to 4,400, and then we see more data. What's going to happen? All right, but if we break 4,200 to downside, then we have room all the way towards 4,000, which is 200 points down, right? So if we recover 4,300 here and we hold above it and we close above 4,300 by the end of the day, I think we can get some continuation all the way towards 4,400. Can that happen today? Absolutely, right? The market is volatile, so do expect volatile moves. And I think 4,300 does make sense, right? I think 4,300 will make sense unless something comes out of the market, some other news come out, right? But otherwise, I do think of 4,300 plus hold 4,400. I think this will be my first target to the upside, right? In this market, 4,400 will be my first target, and then at 4,400, I'll see what happens, right? Maybe it's a great opportunity to scalp some shorts. And I think today, if we get to 4,250, if I just go on a 5-minute chart quickly, and if we get to this level right here by any chance in the morning, I think they might give us a little dip in the morning. We are already down. If we happen to come at this zone, this is where sellers were absorbed yesterday, right here. If we happen to come to this zone, 4250, right in the morning, I think it's worth the shot for a scalp to the upside for the call side. All right, so I think it'll be worth a shot at 4250ish to play calls on SPY or Qs or whatever it may be. And then on NDX also, I've got my levels drawn here, right? The volatility on NDX is already at almost 14,000. All right, so on tech we have a long way to go, and NDX can also bounce roughly from these levels when we open lower, and then we see if it holds and it continues higher. So now what I've started doing is I use NDX, I use SPX, I also use IWM and financial all at once, and see when they hit strong resistance at the same time or they hit strong support at the same time. The chances of success increase even more on being right. All right, so I can go in with size. But today, my first target, the scalp I'll be looking at is 4250, and then I'll manage it close. They might poke it below, but 4250 around that level is worth a shot for calls to the upside. All right, and if we rip straight through, then I'll see how 4300 is held. If we continue, then maybe I'll buy calls along the way at the top. All right, so let's see how that one works. And some earnings I'm gonna go over, and then I'm gonna do one very important comparison at the end, just to open up some of your eyes. Most of you guys forgot about this, but most of you guys know this stock. Many of you guys were probably in love with this stock back in the days, and I'm gonna show you where it's at today. And most of you guys have used their product, or I think all of you must have used it. All right. Number one, Shop. So Shopify, they missed their revenue, right? And they also announced that their quarter 1, 2, and 3, quarter 1 happened, quarter 2 and 3 growth looks lower. In Q4, they look to recover, right? The stock is very reacting negatively to the earnings right now. Nothing great. It's at 417. But if we look at the monthly chart on Shopify, this is very scary. But I think Shopify is still a great company in the long run. Personally, as long as they can show some growth in the coming quarters, I think this will be a great pickup. Because sometimes the company may do great, but the stock price goes down, and sometimes the stock price goes up when the company is doing bad, right? So Shopify was just trading at above 1700 a few months back, right? And now it's at low, triple digits. So I think Shop, if we can get this level, I think this will be a great scaling point right here, which is roughly 200, 300 points. If it happens, this will be a first equity scale in for me personally. Just very small, nothing big. And then I see in the coming months how the stock performs, right? So maybe in the next 1, 2 years or 3 years, even if it takes to go back to 1,000, 2,000, that's a great return on equity. But again, I will probably run through their balance sheet as much as I understand and see that if it's worth buying it, right? So that's something that I do want to check, right? And then we have eBay. eBay is also down, right? eBay is down all the way towards, and they gave bad guidance, right? So be careful. 5 minutes. eBay gave me guidance. No, sorry, not me. eBay guided lower, right? It's down pre-market, but I think if I just look at the monthly chart, it's at a very strong support level. So today, I just want to see if it recovers or not, right? Overall, eBay, I think they have a lot of business, but then again, numbers matter more than anything, right? And the market is weak right now, so I think eBay also is at a very strong critical support. As long as this support is held roughly above 50, and then we see how the market behaves, it could be a buy, but I will just wait for some time. It is down on earnings. If it recovers 55, then obviously we can see much higher. All right. And then Etsy also disgusting, completely ugly, right? It's down pre-market, 10 points. I think they missed up. So they matched their earnings per share. They beat their revenue, but I think because the guidance is lower, right? So Etsy also had a very strong support level. Let's see if it holds or goes. Personally, for me, there's no play here on Etsy. It's come down a lot. If it takes out the lows of this candle right here, roughly of May 2nd, right? And then the indices are at strong resistance. That's where I would short, maybe for a few points down on Etsy, right? And then Wayfair, even more disgusting. Their CFO is retiring. It's also down pre-market. The stock was trading at roughly above 300 for some time. Oh man, this looks like a weekly Amazon chart, and then it just broke down. Right, Amazon's like roughly right here right now, but I think Amazon does not perform. Amazon's too big. It's a different scenario, but this gave up a lot of gains, right? So just be careful, right? I mean, just be careful. I'm just gonna go over one chart, and that will open up the eyes for most of you guys. And the chart is, and this stock, a lot of people tried buying the dip for many years. Some of you guys did too. Blackberry. What happened with Blackberry? You guys all remember, right? Let's go on the monthly chart. Now this was one of the best stocks, best performing stock, charts in 2008 or before. They came up with their cell phones. Whatever happened, great company. I used their product. We were all on it. Most of you guys were. The stock ran, and many of the stocks are basically like this. Many of the stocks in the stock market, most of them I would say, are at this stage right here, right now. Alright, a dip that people are trying to buy, thinking scaling in. All I'm gonna say is anything that you scale into for long-term equity, make sure you look into their balance sheet and fundamentals. Make sure you understand the fundamentals, and their uniqueness. All right. Now, BlackBerry was also a very good company, cell phone. They started off strong, but then Apple came up with their products and whatnot, right? Microsoft, Android, and BlackBerry was just done. There was no innovation, like no, they weren't doing nothing, right? So this is what happened to the stock. And ever since, people have only been trying to buy the dip until people finally gave up in 2015-16 that the stock is dead. And the stock's been dead for many years, and it's probably going to stay like this forever until they announce something spectacular, something that might change the business overall, or something that might be a new trend. So many of the names you guys see, for example, PayPal, I think, right? Look at this monthly drop. This is not a normal drop. They do this when they know that the stock is done, and Apple can come in, take over PayPal. Google can come in, Microsoft. All these companies can easily take most of their business away. Because what am I using my cell phone? Why would Apple want me to use PayPal on their phone in the long run? Obviously, they're gonna try to take over their businesses, right? Apps. So sorry, I'm not against PayPal, don't get me wrong. What I mean to say is just something that I'm saying, right? PayPal is down, Etsy is down, all these names, you have to be very careful what you buy. You got to be very, very careful what you buy. These are too strong of drops. These drops did not happen with Apple here. These stocks held near all-time highs. Google held near all-time highs. Amazon held near all-time highs, although it did produce that ugly drop, right? But Amazon's still strong with a lot of money on their balance sheet, right? Facebook also another, I mean, that's a pretty ugly drop, right? Even though I love Facebook, I know in Metaverse people talk about future, this and that, but this stock can also die for many years to come if nothing happens, right? So all these things, just make sure you guys look into it. What my bottom point is, I don't know what stock's gonna go up. I have no idea, but just be careful if you're trying to catch anything long run. So I hope that BlackBerry chart opens up your eyes. Cisco also another chart on the monthly. If I zoom out, right, huge drop. It took many years before it finally recovered. And this is the path. Some of these stocks that are going to recover, they're going to follow this path. They're not going to do this V-shaped recovery. The stocks that recover are probably going to follow this path of Cisco. It's going to be many years of hold. All right, that's what I'm going to tell you. And I hope SPX the market rips, I will load on puts. I will load my shorts up again, right? Because that's just the theme right now in the coming months, right? So be careful what you buy, because SPX on the weekly looks amazing. It looks very reversal. People are already drawing these trend lines for all-time highs, which is absolutely possible. I hope it gets all-time highs, because I know exactly when to pull my trigger if I do need to short, right? Or somewhere close there. God bless. I hope that comparison helped. Be careful what you buy. And those looking to buy dips, a lot of you guys are looking to buy dips on many names. Make sure you go through the fundamentals and the balance sheet. Make sure the company is growing, even if the stock price is going down, because that one will recover fast. All right. God bless you guys. Back in the chat.